Hey everyone, I'm everyday Buddyfight here, and this is a couple of Dragon Ball Division games. Dragon Ball Divisions will come out in the West in Buddy Chronicles, but came out in Japan in the Deity Yen 100 pack. So it's a deck that focuses on size 3 monsters. They're very defensive, but also offensive in a way. The main size 3s that you play, Endless Ladder or Bloody Eyes, they have counterattack, which means if your opponent attacks them, then you get to attack them, and they always typically have enough power to get over anyone who usually attacks them. So in this instance, Bloody Eyes has the ability to null cards, while Endless Ladder doesn't have that ability. They both do force your opponent first card to attack that card, which means that enables counterattack, so you get rid of a card that you don't really want to see there anymore. Usually one of those smaller size 1 monsters, is most cards have Soul Guard now. In this instance, I'm going to use Endless Ladder because it has triple attack, and here with Demon Drill Wave, just annihilates its monsters, because each time a monster is destroyed, an effect goes off, typically by card effects. In this instance, Endless Ladder has the ability to gain life when opponents are destroyed through card effects, so I get 2 extra life, which is pretty cool. Bloody Eye deals damage instead. It's not once per turn either, which I think is amazing. So I don't have my item equipped, which is a bummer, because then my formation would be complete, but I do have 3 monsters on the field, so since my opponent has 13 life, I'm not going to be able to finish him off, so I'm just going to kill Garga first so I don't have to deal with any more G-Evo, and just kind of hit him for what I can. Not really, much else I can do. So I'm going to shout out Lord Ranma right now, that I did enjoy the games I played with him during getting these replays. It was actually pretty 50-50, not going to lie. Deity, Dragon Tribe, and Dragon Ball Division do pretty much, they don't really counter each other, they just, they do help out against each other. Guard Chris and Dragodvar are very helpful for, that deck. So here, it's like right now I use Dragodvar to get rid of Gargantua Dragon so he can't G-Evo during his attack phase. Just in case he had Guard Chris, honestly, I was afraid of that. So Guard Command's gonna, enable him to Guard Cat, so he's gonna just shuffle through his deck. And here goes for another Gargantua Dragon. This one is Sonic mode. So what is useful about the set spell is that it prevents your soul from being dropped and also gives a slight stat boost. So I'm going to force Sonic mode to attack first, but because of my set spell, I have enough defense to just live through the attack and counterattack, which is amazing for me. Basically, I'm safe, so I'm going to use the attack nullifier to just destroy Guard Cat anyway. Get extra life during my opponent's turn. He's going to go into another G-Evo, or just call it Guard. It's not technically a G-Evo, but so he's not going to attack me because he knows that I probably have another attack nullifier, and that one doesn't have Soul Guard, so it's over if he does do that. He's just going to go into the Buster Break, which destroys my entire field except for Endless Ladder, thankfully, for Soul Guard. So he's in a pretty good spot too. Didn't really lose anything, honestly, which I think is pretty cool. So since Endless Ladder doesn't have any useful soul cards, I'm just gonna say screw it and go into my Bloody Eyes, because it nullifies abilities, and I'm like, well, he might not have Guard Chris in his hand, so hopefully he doesn't. The other card that lets me cycle through cards, Soul, Gauge, and draw is very nice card. Siren White lets me restand cards, and I'm just checking for Soul, so I'm gonna get a Gauge, and Black Health lets me destroy monsters every time it attacks, and with triple attack or double attack, or with Siren White's ability to restand a card, I am popping cards regardless of anything. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep on hitting him with my attacks. Nothing else I can do, really. Can't really finish him off. The impact, honestly, is a bit of a bummer, because it's kind of just like destroy monsters on your opponent's turn and then deal damage. I'm like, yeah, but what if I don't destroy? It's a useless card in my hand then. And it's 2 gauge for 2 damage at the minimum, and I'm like, unless I'm annihilating my opponent's entire field, it's not going to be very helpful. So after all those attacks, my turn is finally over, but now it's time for my opponent's counterattack, so I have to be worried about that. Even though I have a significant life advantage, it doesn't really mean anything in the long run. So my opponent's gonna just go off a little bit, gonna go into the Waking Deity Gargantua Dragon, and this time they are gonna get Guard Chris, which means I can't counterattack, which means I have to just take the brunt of his attacks, which is like, oh no, how terrible. So without Dragodvar, I couldn't, just pop his card before Guard Chris went off, so I'm kind of just stuck taking this hit. So it's gonna go off, hit me a couple of times with his monster. I'm gonna go straight into G-Evo. Then go into Legion mode. Legion mode will call 2 size 1 monsters from his drop zone, so we're gonna get the Guard Cat and a Rectus Guardra. Rectus Guardra is gonna destroy my item, which is the bummer because that prevents my other monsters being destroyed, but luckily he doesn't have any cards in his hand that destroys monsters by card effect, thankfully. So, you know, that's a relief. So luckily, since my monster Bloody Ice has a very high defense count, he can either link attack me with his size 1s, but of course after his Legion mode does a double attack, so Reckless Guard is gonna go after Siren White. I'm gonna use the attack nullifier to destroy Reckless Guard instead of Guard Cat, because if I destroy Guard Cat, then his item will just attack me, so that's a relief. So I was gonna end this turn with that. I have a pretty low card count in my hand. Siren White's gonna get my Eternity Edge, so I'm gonna keep drawing cards. Luckily, Eternity Edge and that card, I forgot what it's called honestly, let me draw cards when I use it, so they replace themselves, going to a second Silent White, which means I have a lot of monsters that, you know, just go off. So in this instance, I'm just gonna wail on him pretty much, penetrate for 3, and that's pretty much game over. Good game, Lord Ranma. I put a link to his channel in the description below, and totally go check him out. So the second game I'm going to show you is a mirror match, actually, and mirror matches are honestly terrible, because what happens here is that I'm going to call Bloody Eyes, and that's pretty much game over, because unless you have the set spell in your hand or the item equipped, you're pretty much screwed, honestly, because obviously your Bloody Eyes would just counteract your opponent's Bloody Eyes, and you're like, okay, well, I know your abilities, so that's it. Out of my face. So it kind of like ends this endless cycle, and right here I'm just going to instantly win with the 1 counter card, because he's going to play the successful first, and he's going to drag Godvar and just waste his monster at the end. Both my monsters will go off, give me 2 gauge and 2 draw, and then I burn it for 1 damage, and he's forced to end his turn. That's it. It's really like there are lots of favorable matchups and unfavorable matchups, like monsters that focus on heavy attacks with 1 monster. You just instantly shut them down with this. Or just like in this instance, a mirror match, it's over. So I'm gonna just keep, you know, getting the I get the set spell, which is good for me, which means my cards can't be nulled or my souls can't be dropped, which means I basically win. My formation is complete. But despite my advantage, there are definitely lots of defensive cards you can play against this deck. Like right now, he's gonna play Skullbinder because all my cards have double attack, so my main monster has double attack, so can't really do anything. I'm just hitting with my item, so he does survive, of course. This doesn't really stop Endless Ladder because he has triple attack, but of course if you give it penetrate with Eternity Edge, it will still stop it, so it's kind of just debatable. So here he's gonna just he didn't draw into a size 3, obviously. He has his own drag card, pops my item, but obviously since I have the set spell, I can't draw my other cards, so kind of a bummer. What is a really shame is that if you don't have the size 3s, if using the card's ability, so you know, just put into soul and then draw cards or get gauge, kind of becomes worthless. So right here I'm going to just null his ability, but of course can't null the ability of the soul, so I'm just going to just go off, and that's it. Counter attack goes off. None of the other monsters have soul guards, so they're dead, which is a shame. Here I'm just going to use the other card to get 2 life and 2 draws because the monster was destroyed during turn. So here I have 3 of the set spell. It's game over. Like you can destroy 1 set spell and then that's it. I mean, unless your opponent's playing Electro Deities, and then we'll just pop all of them. But Electro Deity is a bad matchup against this deck anyway. You're more than likely to lose. In this instance, I just have a lot, so I'm just gonna go off here and win the game like that. In this instance, I had a favorable matchup and the deck just goes up, which is very nice for these decks. So this last game is going to be against one of those unfavorable kind of matchups. Hero World pretty much, it's very unfavorable against Dragon Ball Division since they focus heavily on items, so you're kind of just like, oh, I can't counterattack an item. Can't drop souls from an item with my cards either. So you're kind of stuck there. So also don't really open up that well either, since I don't open up with any other size 3s. I have to open with Siren White, which I'm like, oh no, it's terrible. So I'm just gonna open with Boomerang Dragon Returns, and hopefully that I can just draw a better card. Luckily I do. I got into Endless Ladder, so now my next turn I'll be able to just do stuff, but of course he's playing Battle Poets, which means that he can go off pretty hard. So in this instance, he actually goes into the new Battle Poet card. I could have just used Dragon Var to instantly pop his card before his skill activated, since after you write it, so there's still a space to counter. But I was afraid he was going like, oh no, it doesn't matter because I have hyper energy, and then you're just going to be screwed if I call more monsters. So I'm like, alright, fine, I just won't, so it's fine. So he's going to just gain a ton of gauge and just kind of go off there. He has 5 cards in his hand, If they're all Battle Poets, then I'm screwed. But of course, Time Seal exists, so he has even more cards in his hand, which I'm like, oh no! More Battle Poets cards is gonna go off really hard in Battle Poets. Actually, I haven't seen those in a while. They're interesting enough. They focus on discarding, I think. So because my opponent has 2 of the Battle Poet impacts in his soul, everything on the field gets 2 crit, 2,000 extra power, and 2,000 extra defense, which means that anything he calls is super dangerous. Like, for example, Battle Poet Talking. Talking will have 6 crit and penetrate, which is super dangerous. So I'm like, oh no, kind of screwed. Even the size 0 is going to have 3 crit, which is also bad. So he's going to try to attack me with 6 crit. I'm going to say no. Dragard Vars is going to say screw this and just pop it. I get to draw a card also, which is a good plus for me. But I end up drawing some of the Endless Ladder, which is a bomber, but whatever. I can just charge that gauge. So my item reduces damage taken from effect. And penetrate is, even though it's taken after an attack, it still counts as effect damage, which is good for me. My opponent and I have to have a little bit of discussion about that, which is kind of lame, but what can you do? So, yeah, penetrate's an effect, so nothing really else really happens. He just hits me with 3 crit, and then discards his last Battle Poet card to hit me again for 3 crit. I survive with 1 little life, so I'm at a significant disadvantage here. So in a situation like this, you can understand why this Hero World pretty much is an unfavorable matchup for Dragon Blood Division, but I would do my best. So I'll go into Endless Ladder, which has triple attack, and with Eternity Edge, I can easily get this card up to stats because it'll have 10,000 defense. So, you know, with this, I'll have 12,000 attack and 3 crits. So with triple attack, I can just run through. He only has 1 card left in his hand, so I'm in a pretty good position actually. But he uses It's No Use, gets 3 life, which means that all my attacks won't be enough to kill him by myself, which I'm like, crap, that's a bummer. So at this, now he has 3 life, so I'm like, okay, well, kind of close, but we'll see what happens. So with only 1 card left in his hand, he can't go for a string of massive attacks. He can only attack twice if that's a Battle Poet card. If not, then I'm safe. So his attack is going to start, and an Endless Ladder will force his size 0 monster to attack my monster. So counterattack will enable getting me the life thanks to Endless Ladder skill. Battle Poet, his item will attack, but I'll use Machining Sacrifice. His attack will miss, technically, and I will call Bloody X on my drop zone. And you're gonna get 3 cards from the soul, but I would also get a Buddy gift, which gets me 1 extra life. His last card is a Battle Poet card, so he will discard it and then attack me. Penetrate will only do 2 damage. The last card in his hand is not a Battle Poet card, enabling me to win.